The first F of a circle check is what we call fractures, which pretty much means broken. So we'll be looking on a number of things, starting with the windscreen, the bonnet of the car, the headlights, and the bumper. And what we're asking ourselves is it broken? Is it cracked? Is it badly damaged to the point where the crack is obstructing your view as a driver, right? If your bonnet is damaged, it can fly open at any second and cause an accident, right? Same thing with your headlights. If your headlights are not properly cleaned or damaged, it can prevent you from seeing further ahead at night times. And your bumper can also fall off and cause an accident as well. The second F of a circle check is what we call fluids, all right? And what we're going to be doing for this one is we will be looking underneath the engine compartment of the car to ensure that there are no leakages or fluid under there. All right, so you'll just step back a little bit from the car, and then you'll just look underneath the engine compartment, and we're specifically looking for fluids. Now, with fluids, you want to consider if you see small droplets of fluid under the car, it might still be safe to operate the vehicle, but you want to get it checked out as soon as possible. However, if you see a huge puddle of oil or fluid under the engine, then we also want to not operate the vehicle, do not start the vehicle. I would say get a mobile mechanic to come to your location to get it checked out as soon as possible. Always remember that your engine comprises of moving parts, and for these parts to actually move without hurting or damaging each other, then the engine depends on these fluids or oils as a lubricant to move against each other without damaging each part. Alright, so always remember, if you see a big puddle of oil, you want to get it checked out by a mobile mechanic as soon as possible and not operating that vehicle. The third F of a circle check is what we call flats. And this is where we're looking for the inflation level or the amount of air in the tire. Is it too soft or is it deflated, or is it properly inflated? All right. And secondly, we want to look at the treads and grooving on the tire itself. Now, as if you come closer and we take a look at the wheel here, these are what we call the tread and the grooving on the tire. Now, this is the part that contacts the road, and this part also helps with the friction as well, which is pretty much having grip on the road. So if your tire does not have proper tread and grooving, then it also means that when you're trying to move off or you're trying to stop the car, then you're not going to have maximum contact on the road itself. And in bad weather, such as rainfall, what it also means is that you're not going to have that proper grip on the road to ensure that your car is slowing down properly or moving off properly. And that is one of the primary reasons why we have skids. On the topic of tires, we always want to ensure that we have the right, these are called your nuts and bolts, and we always want to ensure that we have the right amount of nuts for the right amount of bolts. So for this car, we have 5 nuts and we have 5 bolts on there as well. So we want to ensure that the nuts and bolts are matching it. If any of these are missing, we want to get that replaced as soon as possible. This area here is called the wheel housing of the car, right? And this is pretty much where the wheel lives. Now, sometimes when it rains and we have mud or we have gravel or we have any form of debris that gets lodged or stuck at the back there, that can potentially prevent the wheel from giving you a full lock. So let's say you're going around a corner and you want to steer around the corner nice and easy, but then when you attempt to steer, the steering is not going fully because you have something stuck under there, and that could be fatal, right? So we always want to ensure that this area here is free of filth, which leads us to our fourth F, filth. The fifth F of a circle check is what we call freedom. And as the word says, are we free to move off safely? Now, when it's time to go, we can have anything laying around the car that can potentially cause an incident or accident. All right, so as it pertains to walking around the car, we want to look to see if there are anything laying close to your car, like maybe a dog, could be a pet, it could be a child, it could be a bicycle, it could be a garbage bin, anything, a pole, if you're in a parking lot, it could be the curb. So anything inside the car, around your car rather, that can potentially cause an incident, you want to ensure that those things are removed or that you are aware of those things before moving off. Hence the reason why we walk around the car quickly or briefly to ensure that it's fully safe for us to move before we jump behind the wheels. And last but not least is the sixth F of the circle check, which brings us to the end, fasten. All right, so that speaks to any additional attachments that you're applying to your car. So if you decide to tow a trailer on the back of the car, if you're going to place a bicycle rack on the back of your car, if you're going to basically place a roof rack on the top of your car, which you're going to place your ladders on, then you always want to ensure that all of these things are properly fastened or secure in the vehicle. Think about this. If you're driving with a bicycle attached to your car and it falls off and it hits a bike or another car, what's going to happen? You would be the instigator of an accident. So always ensure that anything external you're taking on the car, they're properly fastened. If your trunk is full, we want to place those larger items on the back seat of the vehicle, and you want to also place all of those things under a seat belt as well. Now, if you're driving at 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 kilometers down the street and you slam on the brake and you're taking a suitcase on the back seat, that suitcase will be flying forward and might cause damage to your back or even to the windscreen of your car. All right, so always ensure that if you're taking large things on the back in the back seat, you want to properly secure those. For smaller items like your school bags or handbags for ladies, you want to place those in the back of the car on the ground so that if you slam on the brake, those things will be held by the seat of the vehicle.